This is The Naked Life with Roxanne Noor. Hello, my loves. Thank you guys for tuning in today. I've done a couple episodes about a subject that's really important for me, and the subject is nudity. So a lot of the episodes were going into lifestyle of nudity, why the practice itself is important just for the individual, but I haven't really talked about nudity as a movement in itself and some of the roots of it and what it actually symbolizes in a grander historical context. One country that has actually really used nudity as a movement, a political, social movement, is Germany. And it was through a movement called the free body culture. I'm going to butcher the name in German, but Freikörperkultur, FKK, free body culture. So I really want to talk about the emergence of this culture, what it was then and what it is now, and why it's still so important today. So basically, free body culture emerged in the 1800s. It was a method for health optimization. And then later, it became a kind of homage to nature, to going back to simplicity. It was very basic, the whole approach, that it's healthy for light to cloak the body, to touch the body. It's healthy to walk the grasses barefooted, to wade into water naked, basically to feel. And naturopaths, such as Swiss Dr. Riekle, he advocated for outdoor light therapy. So outdoor light therapy, specifically nude, naked, was used to address skin ailments, respiratory conditions, and even actually tuberculosis. So nude bathing in sunlight, became a kind of therapeutic ritual. It was harnessing the elements of water, sun, air for relaxation and for grounding. Nudity epitomized this interconnectedness of the human body with the natural world. And then the lost art of leisure was resurrected. These were really busy people in cities going out to lakes to bathe naked, and it was going back to a form of health and of simplicity. So free body culture embodied a kind of naturism opposed to urbanization and also modernity. So it was this escape from toxins of city life and going back into a kind of untamed wildness. As time marched on, there was a philosophy of well-being that was in it, but then it kind of went into becoming something countercultural and political. So its roots were really about the earth, about naturalism and health, and then it became this kind of political movement. It was banned by the Nazis, but the practice still persisted. And then in the 1950s, police came to Baltic beaches and lakes, and they tried to suppress nudity, and they were met with a lot of steady protests. Then, prior to the fall of the Berlin Wall, the residents of East Germany were confined to the Soviet-controlled side, and this side was very much oppressed. Freedom of speech, freedom of movement, and association, they were all curtailed. So there was very little sense of freedom living in East Berlin at that time. It was a place of a kind of oppression, and many people were really suffering existentially. So one of the few liberties that individuals possessed was their bodily autonomy. They were unable to visit relatives in West Berlin for dinner. They were unable to go vacation in the glorious mountains of the Dolomites. They were unable to spend a week in Paris. And so East Berliners sought solace by the lakeside and Baltic shores. There, in nature's embrace, was a symbolic liberation through nudity. They were suffocated by regulations, governmental agendas, but the human body had a refuge in nature. Now, today in Germany, nudity is largely legal and unrestricted by criminal statuses. Going to Germany and being in Germany, it's super commonplace for mothers and daughters to recline side by side, unclothed, and surrounded by forests. There's the sight of grandmas with sagging bellies, C-section scars, body hair, all these things, and it's actually very unremarkable. It's very normal to see. There's young boys playing naked under the sun, and it's just a familiar scene. Then in saunas, families sweat together naked. They're not really bothered by it. It's not a big deal. And then they still go out into nature. So beaches, forests, it all still remains a sanctuary for therapeutic relaxation. And though it's no longer overtly political, nudity really still carries a message because it is a song of freedom. Nudity is the absence of shame. So in communal nakedness, in nakedness with other people, we are bodies beyond identity and hierarchy. Nudity is an antidote to consumerism and a release from the jaws of capitalism. And there's this relinquishment of self-consciousness in the embrace of what is. It's like the opposite of hiding, like everything is just out there to be witnessed, to be accepted, to be seen. And then nakedness is a harmonious communion with the natural forces surrounding us, the elemental forces. Nudity is really this celebration of belonging, the knowing that we belong to one another and this earth that birthed us. So Germany is really one of these central countries to embrace nudity because many other countries have, right? There's France, there's Spain, but they haven't done it in a way that it's actually a social movement, and Germany has. And it really intertwines the best parts of our human nature, the body, actual physical nature surrounding us, and health. All of these values in and of themselves are life-affirming. No other practice addresses body positivity, naturalism, and an inner freedom as does the naked form. So with all of this context, I just want to say that there's such strong conditioning around what is right and what is wrong. Me, myself, I come from an Indian background where spending the summers in Mumbai, even though it's a metropolitan city, if I'm just wearing, this was years ago, now it's changed, but when I was younger, if I was wearing a t-shirt or a tank top, I would get called savage. My uncle would get really, really angry at me and say how a woman shouldn't dress that way. And to me, that's why nudity is even more powerful than just dressing openly, because it is not at all about sex. Like, nudity in general is really about the form of expression beyond sexuality. It's more in terms of sensuality, if anything, the capacity to feel what's around you. And so I come from a background that is extremely rigid in their views of nudity and of what a woman should be. And I can say the greatest thing I've done to liberate myself from that is to be naked in nature for myself and to have a really strong and profound and beautiful relationship with my body through the acceptance of what it is. Not through covering it up, not through shaving it, not through, wearing all of these beautiful clothes to be seen. It's like the exact opposite. And there's something so pure and so gentle and so lovely about the whole process. So I would just say, for anyone listening, just even if you're having body positivity issues or you come from a really religious background or a culture like mine that says it's wrong, to just wade into the waters and try a little bit for yourself and see what the feeling is, I think could be really beneficial. So Yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. And I want to thank Germany and the free body culture for existing. I feel like every time that I'm in Berlin or Munich or Dresden, I just feel so good being there, being in saunas, being by the lake, seeing the way in which people relate to themselves with such openness. It's yeah, it's a really beautiful feeling. So go Germans. Yes. Okay. Bye guys.